Good morning, students. This is Mr. Fauna, your math teacher. Today we're going to be looking at solving equations, multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Remember, the whole idea behind solving any equation is to get the variable by itself on one side, preferably the left-hand side. And generally, to do that, we'll always move all the terms that have the variables to one side, and then we move the constant terms to the other side. And the golden rule is the moment you move a term from one side of the equation to the other side, the sign of that term will change. Now let's see. So here we have this equation, 3x plus 2 equals x minus 5. Well, let's actually split this line down here so we can actually see the left and the right hand side, but this is not very necessary, just for illustration. Okay, on the left hand side, our goal is to move all the x terms to go to the left hand side and then the constant terms to the right hand side. And remember, when you move any term from one side of the equation to the other side, the sign of that term will change. Okay, so we have 3x plus 2. This 3x will stay on the left hand side. This plus 2 will go over to the right hand side, and it will become negative 2 when you move it over. On the right hand side, this x does not belong to the right hand side, so it will move over to the left hand side to meet the other x terms. Remember, it's a positive x. If you don't see a sign in front of the x, it's positive. So when it moves over, it will become negative x. Then the negative 5 is a constant, it will stay. So let's work that out. So on the left hand side, we have the 3x did not move, so our 3x is there. Now the x moved over and became a negative x, so that will be 3x minus x equals. On the right hand side, remember this x has already gone to the left. Now we have negative 5. Negative 5 did not move. I always like to start with the things that did not move. Negative 5 is there, and then remember what happens. This positive 2 here will go over to the right hand side, and you flip the sign and it will become a negative 2. Now we have separated it. That's simple. So all we do now is combine our like terms. 3x minus x is the same as 3x minus 1x. That will be 2x equals negative 5 minus 2 will be negative 7. We divide both sides by 2 to get x by itself, so have 2x divided by 2 equals negative 7 divided by 2. X cancels, the 2 cancels, and we'll have x equals negative 7 over 2. Okay, so that's the first part. Let's look at another example. Example 2. So again, if we split this down, that's our left hand side. So we have our left hand side and then the right hand side. Okay, on the left hand side, remember the rule is we want all the terms that have x to go to one side and then the constant terms to go to the right side. We'll take all the terms in x to go to the left side, the constant terms to the right side. Every time a term moves, you have to change the sign of that term. And the sign of any term is always found on the left side of that term. So on the left hand side, this 5x will not move. It stays on the left. The plus 8x will not move. Then the negative 4, that's a constant term, so it's going to move over to the right. Of course, when it moves, it will become a positive 4. Then on the right hand side, the 2 is a constant, so it will stay. The negative 3x, that's a term that has x, so it will move over to the left hand side, and of course the sign will flip to a positive 3x. Now the positive 6 will not move, so that is a constant term, so that one stays on the right hand side. Now, so let's move those things. So on the left hand side, you have your 5x is there plus 8x. Then the negative 3x goes over and become a positive 3x equals. On the right hand side, what are the things that did not move? I like to start with the things that did not move. The 2 was there, the positive 6 was there, so we have plus 6. Now the negative 4 went over and it should now become a positive 4. At this point, all you do is combine your like terms, 5x plus 8x, that should give us 13x plus 3, that should be 16x, so we have 16x equals 2 plus 6 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12, so equals 12. Divide both sides by 16 to get x by itself, so have 16x divided by 16 equals 12 divided by 16. So this cancels and we'll have x equals 12 over 16. But you cannot leave your answer as 12 over 16 because when you look at 12 and 16, you see that 4 is common. 4 can go into 12 and 4 can also go into 16. So if we work that out, we'll have x equals 4 goes into 12 3 times, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So we have x equals 3 over 4. Now we look at the last example. We have 2x plus 7 equals 5 minus 4x. So again, the 2x will stay on the left hand side. The positive 7 will move over to the right hand side and will become a negative 7. Now on the right hand side, the 5 is a constant, so that will stay. And then the negative 4x, that's a term that has x. All our terms that have x should go to the left hand side. So this term will go over to the left hand side. And of course, you know what should happen now. When it goes over, the sign will change to a plus 4x. Alright. So let's move those things around. So on the left hand side, the 2x did not move, so it stayed. We have 2x. The negative 4x will go over and will become a positive 4x. Alright, that is it about the x terms. Then we now move on the right hand side. We have the 5. Remember, this negative 4x has already gone to the left. Now the positive 7x move over to the right and become a negative 7. Well, it's a positive 7, not 7x. So positive 7 moves over and becomes a negative 7. Alright, let's combine our like terms. 2x plus 4x will give us 6x equals 5 minus 7 is negative 2. Divide both sides by 6. We have 6x divided by 6 equals negative 2 divided by 6. The 6 cancels and you have x equals negative 2 over 6. Now we see that you cannot leave your answer as negative 2 over 6 because 2 can go into 2 and 6. So we have to simplify that. So we now have x equals, you have your negative 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that will be x equals negative 1/3.